All right. We've got another podcast episode, Harry. We've got a few things to go through today.
Do we?
We do. What do you mean, do we?
I think this one is absolutely rogue.
This is rogue.
This podcast, because we're going to be reacting to a few things that have come up.
Yeah.
That have been presented to us.
We've been sent these articles, or we've got some reels to go through as well.
Yeah. And that people want to see our reactions to it, I guess, and what we think about it.
And they all follow under the topic of, health, business, sports. Or actually, these are predominantly health, and one's a business one-ish today as well. So, yeah, we've got a lot to go through.
This will be interesting then.
All right.
Strap in.
Well, do you want me to maybe give an overview of what we're going to go through today? So we've been sent an article about, it's been all over the news as well, about what's happening with Aussie drinking water. Right. And, some forever chemicals and things like that have been found in our drinking water, and what impact that has, not just to our water supply, but the damaging impact that has on our health. And maybe we can go a little bit deeper into the different stuff that we've found by looking into this. We got sent another article about the carnivore diet, and there's a lot of news coming out on mainstream media at the moment that talks about how the carnivore diet could be detrimental to your health and cause heart issues and dementia, which is a very interesting take on that, and we'll dive into that.
Yeah.
And then
I want to hear about that.
Another one that we got alerted to, and I guess this is going to be interesting on how we take to this, but Australian allied health professionals.
Mate, this boils my blood.
Yeah, this one's an interesting one.
Boils my blood.
The government has changed the health industry's placements for uni.
Yes.
And now uni students will get paid to do placements.
Which, we'll dive into that. It's fantastic.
Except allied health professionals have been left out of it. Discrimination. But, I think I've got a different take on that. So they're the three main things that we're going to go through today.
I'm glad we're leaving that one for last.
We'll leave that one for last. And then we've got a few, reels and videos to go through on each of those topics as well and get our reaction to it.
Let's rock and roll.
You're ready to go?
Because I think some of these ones that you're going to have an interesting take on it, because I think the first one with the tap water situation,
we've touched on that in a few other podcasts before.
Yeah, I know.
And then you were like, "Oh no, what are you talking about?"
Emily Corn was, she was all for it, wasn't she?
And you were literally making fun of us in that podcast about our tap water drinking
because you asked for a drink out of my bottle to clear your headache.
Yes,
and that's purely tap water.
It was purely tap water, and it tasted like shit.
Oh God, I can't deal with it.
All right, well let's jump into this, right?
But look, the article does, it does definitely. There's alarm bells even in my head.
Yeah, well,
my conservative head.
We've got an article on news that we got sent from news.com.au.
Yeah,
and I'll read part of the article, but essentially, this has been all over the news. On Channel 9, Channel 7. Emily kind of touched on it when we chatted to her a few weeks back, but then even when she said it, then I was like, I hadn't really seen much about it. And then it's just more and more has come out over those last few weeks about what's happening with our water supply.
Yeah.
So the article that we got sent was from news.com.au. It was in early September that this article was written, and it says, indestructible chilling tap water warning. Experts have sounded the alarm over concerning discoveries in Aussie drinking water and made a startling admission. Aussies have been urged to take urgent action to protect themselves from cancer-causing forever chemicals that have been detected in drinking water. This week, it was revealed the chemicals were detected in several drinking catchments, which serve millions of Australians, at levels deemed unacceptable in other parts of the world. Sydney Water confirmed for the first time on its website that the PFAS chemicals were detected in June at low levels in key water filtration plants around the city, following on from similar discoveries in drinking water around the nation. Although the concentration of PFAS in the samples were often very small, the US Environmental Protection Agency has recently found there are no safe levels of these chemicals in drinking water. The Australian government guidelines state that there is a safe level of exposure. And the rest of the article basically goes into what these forever chemicals can do to us. And the interesting part is that in a lot of other countries, there is no, like, which I just read, but in Australia, we actually have a safe limit, which is actually very high compared to a lot of other countries and very detrimental to our health.
So that limit is, to digress there, sorry, the limit is actually quite high, right? Well, we're in Australia, we're actually accepting a lot of these forever chemicals in the water, supposedly.
Yeah, so in this article, they say that the Australian government allows for a set level of 560 parts per trillion of these toxic chemicals in the water.
Yeah.
So we've always allowed it to be in the water and just said that it's safe. But some countries, like 1 part per trillion is too much. Like they don't accept that this is in their water. So that's where the alarming part is. And, I want to deep dive into that a little bit more. And it just ended that this particular article that they were found in the Warragamba, Prospect River and Orchard Hills filtration sites. And then obviously the dams that supply that. Prospect Reservoir is used as one of the main supplies for the Prospect water filtration plant, and that currently supplies 80% of Sydney's drinking water. So yeah, we knew for a long time. Everyone knows, that Prospect supplies majority of Australia's drinking water.
Yeah,
and there's been other issues at Warragamba before, but this is the first time that it's probably shed light on the Prospect Reservoir. So let's reverse that back a little bit, right? Now,
please.
Someone who purely drinks tap water and laughed at me for a while now when...
you're hitting me straight up,
100% you have.
Yeah, because it hasn't changed me.
Yeah,
I've been drinking tap water my whole life.
The viewers will start
is everyone else.
Your tics and your weird... movements.
Nothing wrong with the tick.
And your no, but like, how does that article kind of?
It definitely like throws alarm bells. I've definitely been, I don't know, I guess I wouldn't say living under a rock in this case, but like I wasn't privy to any of this previously. You sort of drink water out of the tap and expect it to be fresh and in Australia where everything's with so much red tape and so much regulation on everything, I just expect it to be perfect for me. And I know you're told at school it's got things in there, it's going to help your teeth and whatever. So I'm like, yeah, sweet, I'll just drink water. And you're told to drink water and body's made up of water and all that sort of thing. I've never thought of filtering water. I've never thought of what else might be in it. I used to, as you know, in a previous life I was a plumber. Why are you laughing?
You pretended to be a plumber, but yeah.
What a trade. No, so like I would see sometimes, like, your water's kept in, copper or in like heaps of plastics. Plastics are like really coming out and in the plumbing trade now. And you'd cut it, right? You'd cut it with your shears or you'd cut it with your cutters or whatever. And then you put the pipe together. And I'd always think, shit, what about all the like filings did they all come out of the water before? I used to think about that and like, is that contaminating at all? And like going from like copper to plastic and whatever. And we used to always just flush it through. Mm-hmm. That's it. Leave it on for a minute when you've done the job. Make sure it's all the way through. Water's in the pipe. No problem. That's the only time I've ever thought about something in my drinking water. But now the forever chemicals. Now I have heard about this it's been not only in water, but it's in like, I've heard it in jeans and things like that, and it can be on once you've got it or you've consumed it. Am I right? That's it. You've got it. Like,
yeah.
But toughen me up. Who cares?
Well, you mentioned something really interesting there. So obviously the article's talking about forever chemicals, right?
Yeah.
But you mentioned that in Australia we've always been told and taught that we have good drinking water compared to other countries in the world, and that, you know, we put things in the water that benefit our teeth and our health. And like, I remember when we went to school, we used to make fun of like English people, right? That the English people had bad teeth because they didn't have fluoride in their water. And I remember that being a thing at school,
right?
And everyone laughing about it, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, like, I don't know why I remember that, but I remember them talking about that. And that's why we put fluoride in our water. But, and so when you're talking about that we have this conception that whatever is in our water is good for us.
Fresh and it's good.
Fresh. Yeah. And granted, maybe we don't get sick compared to drinking water from other countries. Yes, we can drink water from the tap and we don't get sick. Yeah. Not only do we have these forever chemicals that, by the way, like, they've been in our water for a long period of time. It's interesting now that maybe the levels have increased, but it's interesting now that it's getting media attention.
Yeah, that's odd.
But then there's also things like fluoride that we get told are good for our teeth that actually aren't. So I'm gonna read to you a quick article from Harvard University. So the impact on fluoride on neurological development in children. For years, health experts have been unable to agree on whether fluoride in the drinking water may be toxic to the developing human brain. Extremely high levels of fluoride are known to cause neurotoxicity in adults, and negative impacts on memory and learning have been reported in rodent studies. Essentially, they went into a deeper study. There was 27 studies and found strong indications that fluoride may adversely affect cognitive development in children. I will find out another article for you. Hang on.
Say that's
27 studies.
Yeah, but you can't say the fluoride was the sole cause.
So there is a study, I'm just trying to find it, where they compared the development of the cognitive aspects of children in certain states in the US. So they increased the level of fluoride in that state's water supply compared to another state. And when they did cognitive and testing, like mental testing, the state that had higher fluoride had significantly lower scores in their studies.
Yeah, but they also didn't go to school. Like,
what the fuck are you talking about?
So but like, there's so many other environmental factors that would have played into states being cognitively
we're talking about
different
1,000 or 2,000 children. We're not talking about a small group of 10. You're talking about cohorts.
That cohort has not only ingested more fluoride, but they've also, you know, grown up in a different environment, gone to different schools than the other state did.
Hang on. When I bring up the study,
different families, different socioeconomical status, and all the rest of it, you can't tell me it's just the fluoride. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but
we're not. It's
playing a role, but I don't know.
We're not talking about purely just the fluoride. We're talking about what impact fluoride has on the body.
Yeah,
and then we can determine that through large case studies.
Yeah, no, I get that. It's a big cohort, but still.
Yeah.
You'd be like, if you had a study where 1,000 people had filtered water and 1,000 people had tap water, and they grew up in the exact same, you know, area and went to the same schools and all that sort of stuff, then maybe.
That's very hard to do.
I know.
Because each school will only have a couple hundred people.
That's right. But I don't know. I'm still not convinced.
So you're happy to drink tap water?
Yeah, it's not going to stop me. And you know what? Well, like, doesn't kill me. Just makes me. I mean, it's telling us that it's not going to make us stronger, but I don't know. I feel like
it's telling you that it'll kill you too.
Being more exposed to these things
will give you cancer.
Yeah, well, cancer hasn't got a cure, so that's still debatable, isn't it? Really.
So it'll make you stronger.
I'll let you know when I'm 85. Speaking of, in our last pod, don't forget the lens we need to put on this is that our last guest, Adrian, if you haven't listened to that one, he tells a great story at the end.
If you're a business owner.
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh well, forget about
Of course, that part too.
100%.
But the story at the end's got nothing to do with him
the story at the end.
being a business owner. But it's hilarious. But yeah, liquid gold that guy's got. No, but he challenged us in this podcast to take every question, every sort of like article and things that have been sent to us with the lens of being an 85-year-old and that person, you know, saying, as our 85-year-old, you know, I mean,
what would we have done?
What would we have done? Yeah.
If we were 85 right now.
That's right. So if I was 85 right now, looking back at this, and if I had cancer, and I bet you I'd be thinking of all the little things that maybe led me down that path of like getting it, why me, why that. I'd probably be... I'm not sure if I'll be thinking about tap water straight away. I'll probably be thinking about it like genetics and stuff like that. But yeah, it definitely would play into it.
That's important, right?
If someone said to me...
play a role on that, right? But genetics are one part. What's triggered the genetics to cause you to get cancer? What's triggered the genetics to have that impact on your life? That just doesn't happen just because that's it. Your genetics are fucked. You're predisposed to get cancer at some point in your life. There's got to be triggers. We know that.
All right. Well, look, I want to throw this back at you because you're the weirdo that drinks only filtered water. Filtered water. Wait.
Wait, not just any filtered water.
Fucking hell. And it has to be out of a glass bottle too.
No, it doesn't have to be out of a glass bottle.
You went through that stage?
No, I would store my water in glass bottles, yeah. I'm not going to carry around a plastic bottle.
So is that the reason? Because there are these forever chemicals that... So the forever chemicals that are man-made, right? That's what they are.
Well, we don't... Some of them are man-made. Fluoride's a byproduct that we've then determined is good for us somehow.
Yeah, right.
It's a byproduct, some petrochemical byproduct.
Yeah, because could you just take the chemical out?
What chemical?
These forever chemicals. Can you just filter them out?
Of your water?
The tap water.
Yeah.
By filtering it through a sponge or something that you use.
The sponge that I use, yes. The sponge that I use filters it out. No,
come on.
So you can't use... So the filter that I use for our drinking water is a reverse osmosis filter. And that takes out... You can measure the solids that it takes out of the water. And each time that we filter our water, we're probably taking about 300 to 400 solids out of the water. It would never be 100%. But whatever parts per trillion, however they work it out, our water that we put directly into our machine will have 300 to 400 is the low end. We've sometimes got 800 to 900 parts per trillion in the water, and it will filter it out to, somewhere around 8 to 10 parts per trillion.
And what is this?
Of
like
solids?
Some sort of...
So they're all the solids that our water's collected in the system.
Yeah. But what is this filtration device thing that you've got?
It's called a reverse osmotic filter.
So what is that? Like the tap water goes straight into this thing and you turn it over a few times and then...
No. It's
pour it through the sponge and then you put it into your glass.
Yeah, that's it. Pour it through the sponge. No, like pour it on the sponge, let the sponge fill up, and then I grab the sponge and
squeeze it out.
I squeeze it into the tap.
And then you wash the dishes.
Yeah, that's the one. No, so basically the filtration system sucks through the water, passes it through the reverse osmotic filter.
Yeah. So this sits underneath your
the one we got for our drinking water, no, because the ones that sit under are probably good for your, if you want to have a shower and try and filter it out. But if you want your drinking water to be a bit more pure, you probably need an above sink system that works a little bit differently.
And you told me that the byproduct of this is what actually put me on notice. Mm-hmm. You told me in conversation off this pod, you told me that byproduct is like literally yellow.
Yeah. So then it spits out water after it, and when you empty that water container, that's not the drinking water, that's the discarded water, it's yellow.
That's fucked.
But really? That's okay,
Yeah, but that's making me stronger. That's why I don't get sick so much.
But what
as you?
I don't get sick. Don't remember the last time I had a
It's
sick
making
day.
my immune system stronger by taking in all the chemicals. And if in my 85-year-old lens, I'm looking back at this and regretting it, well, look, now it's on camera.
In my 85-year-old lens,
Yeah, what's yours?
I'd be doing everything I can right now, knowing that this is happening.
I get that. No.
Knowing this, now, if this information wasn't out there, if we were told the narrative that Australian drinking water is good for you, and we put shit in it that's good for you, and I believed that for fucking years. I believed that for 30 years. All right, so it's not that I don't disbelieve it, but now that the information's there and it clearly points to that's not the truth, the 85-year-old lens for me is like, well, why do that? Irrespective of whether or not it's going to make me stronger. There's a lot of other things that will make my immune system stronger, not drinking things that could potentially kill me.
It's also a massive inconvenience. I think I'll be looking at, when I'm 85, looking back and going, oh, thank God I didn't have to waste my time. Every time I wanted some water, I had to go over to the filtered water, or I'm so thirsty I didn't drink water when I was at the park or something. How the bubbler. Because I had to go and filter it.
Is that how you're thinking?
That's what I'll be. That's what I'm thinking right now. I thought, give me asked.
Yeah, but you're not wrong.
All right, so you'll continue drinking the filtered water,
1000%,
and I'll continue drinking the tap water. We'll be our own study. See you at 85. Moving on.
You want to move on from that? Wow.
That's yeah.
Alrighty. Let's move
But
on.
yes, no, very interesting, and definitely making me think, and I'm sure many others too.
I hope so.
Next one.
Alrighty, next one. Playing with fire. So this one's an interesting one. Doctors issue warning over popular new diet. So
Some tap water. Hold on.
this was sent to us. So this is from the New York Post. Experts have warned against a popular new diet that has taken the internet by storm, saying it could lead to heart issues and dementia. Doctors have beef with this trendy new diet, the carnivore diet, which involves consuming only animal byproducts,
All your favorite topics,
such as meat, eggs, dairy, and has taken the internet by storm as fitness fanatics swear by the high-protein, no-vegetable lifestyle. While some people insist it has helped them shed weight and made them healthier than ever, experts are skeptical about the true benefits of eating the rigid diet. Dr. Rupi Ajula, I hope I said that right, warned strict carnivores that their diet, along with the keto diet, which involves a low-carb menu, could be pro-inflammatory and pro-aging, pointing to past research. They observed changes in key organs such as the heart and kidneys, where the accumulation of senescent cells contributed to systemic inflammation and toxicity. These don't get cleared away by the immune system, and these are cells you don't want in excess and can contribute to overall inflammation. While other doctors have voiced concerns over the adequate nutrition as a result of meat-heavy and veggie-less diet, Dr. Ojula noted that the carnivorous lifestyle could also increase the risk of cardiofibrosis and dysregulated mitochondrial function, in addition to increased cholesterol levels. This is something that would concern me, that people are putting themselves at risk of cardiovascular disease and even dementia as well. While adding that a short-term iteration of diet could prove beneficial to those with genuine intolerances. I think this is playing with fire, considering we don't have long-term studies of people consuming these diets. Wow. Okay, that last bit
summed it up for me.
In what way?
What were you going to say?
Well, he says, I don't this is playing with fire, considering we don't have long-term studies of people consuming these diets.
Sorry, yeah. Not that part.
I think we have... How long have we got documented humans on the planet?
Sorry, let me just work that out. I don't know.
Well, we've got thousands of years of long-term study of people consuming meat.
Well, that's right. That was where it all began, really.
Yeah.
But then, like, it goes like what's the quality of that meat? Like, if with these studies, like,
yeah,
you know, I know you can get nutritional value out of eating only just meat, but if the meat quality is not very good, then probably not.
Yeah, that is a debate. Obviously, the introduction of grain-fed meats versus grass-fed can have a huge topic. Yeah, that is a big topic, and I would agree with the notion that grain-fed meats can cause inflammation in the body. There is zero evidence that grass-fed meats will cause inflammation in the body. It's the type of protein maybe that you're ingesting. That's the same with eggs. If you're eating caged eggs that are fed on corn, you probably will have a very different reaction to it than eating quality eggs that are pasture raised. So I think the issue here isn't necessarily the diet, it's the nutritional value of the food that we're eating.
Yeah, 100% agreed. And it's interesting because like they're sort of taking the angle of like do or don't, like do the carnivore diet or don't do it, where it's really, it's like, well, what's the quality of that? And, this article started with talking about fitness fanatics using it. And there's a reason why fitness fanatics are using it, because they're getting results, right?
Correct.
Like I've seen studies where people have gone from sort of like, I guess, a balanced diet and what have you. And then in athletes or semi-pro athletes, then they've gone to just carnivore diet and their bloods have improved, their strength's improved. So they looked at powerlifters, they looked at like weightlifters, they looked at runners, they looked at swimmers. Everyone improved in terms of their actual individual personal best, or individual sport personal best. After, I can't remember, I think it was maybe 2 or 3 months. But in saying that, and I think that study may have actually spurred like a Netflix series or something, or a Netflix doco or something on it. Yeah. But the thing is though, for me, isn't that just change in diet and like, because they're going from one to the other. There's no studies ever that have gone from only a carnivore eating diet to a balanced diet. You know what I mean?
Well, I think this comes back to when we had the podcast with Lou, right? And we talked about the nutritional value of the food versus the calorie deficit or things like that, right? You're going to lose weight if you're in a calorie deficit. 1,000%. That's the whole premise of the calorie deficit.
Yeah.
But then, what happens when you increase muscle mass? Your calorie count your metabolic count is supposed to go up.
Go up, yeah.
So why can you then eat more?
Yeah.
Especially if it's meat or vegetables. Let's just go super clean. You increase your muscle mass and you can eat more. All right. So again, I don't think it has anything to do with the calorie deficit, as opposed to maybe the quality of the food you're eating. What that then does to your musculoskeletal system, and then all of a sudden, our metabolic rate got put up. Yeah, so we're not understanding. We're tying one result or a series of results that are negative to one aspect without looking at the whole. Right? The way I look at it, is it's pretty fucking simple. You eat shit food, and I want to touch on the dementia side of things, right?
Yeah,
dementia wasn't a thing until. I saw it the other day. It was like, let's say it was around the 50s. I can get the exact date, right? So what's changed in our diet since then? Did we have the prevalence of grain-fed meats and dairy and eggs? Were we eating as much processed foods prior to that? It's easy to say, the carnivore diet's causing dementia or can cause dementia. But is it the carnivore diet or the types of foods that we're eating that are causing dementia? Because you can't say, and obviously what I'm about to say, we don't have evidence of it, but you can't say that we don't have long-term studies of what the carnivore diet will do to us, considering our whole premise that we exist is because we eat meat. The human body feasts on protein. So you can't say that we don't have study of what that looks like. But maybe the quality of it and the type of protein you're ingesting has the impact.
Yeah, because, obviously the way it's farmed now is completely different as well. And
pesticides, processed. corn.
And like, I mean, non-meat eaters, listening to this and thinking, yeah, that's why you just go to, vegetables and fresh produce that way and not meat at all. And then I know there are benefits of that, but I also think that's then the change, and it's just like, eventually that's going to catch up to you, and we don't really know what the results of that are going to be. Is, if we take the lens of an 85-year-old, someone just not eating meat,
well,
I've
got a video to watch.
I'd say that's
that
playing
lens.
with fire more than the carnivore diet.
Well, 100%, right? But it said here that dementia is a high prevalence there, right? And you normally get dementia in the late stages of life, right?
Yeah.
And the reason that they're saying that dementia will occur is because of whether it's systemic inflammation, or it talked about the impact of cardiovascular system and cholesterol and things like that. So I want you to get a reaction on this video about cholesterol.
Sweet. Roll the tape.
Elevated cholesterol, but I don't need a statin. Here's why. In many people like myself who eat a significant amount of saturated fat from animal meat and avoid seed oils, LDL cholesterol rises. If I went to a classically trained doctor, they would beg me to take a statin. But my elevated cholesterol does not mean that I am at an increased risk of cardiovascular disease. Eating in this way means that I am metabolically healthy, aka insulin sensitive. The medical literature is very clear that in healthy individuals with high HDL, low triglycerides, and low fasting insulin, elevated LDL is not a significant risk factor for cardiovascular disease. And there is no evidence that in healthy individuals like myself, taking a statin to decrease LDL cholesterol lowers cardiovascular risk. But taking a statin will increase my risk of many significantly negative side effects.
So,
this guy.
So, as you guys can see, that's a doctor saying this. This is a doctor who is talking about this, right?
Yeah.
So this isn't some random Insta famous bloke talking shit. This is a doctor, medically trained.
He is Insta famous, but
well, he has become Insta famous, but he is
a doctor. Yeah,
correct.
It does have some credibility to him.
And where I think that we've gotten stuck with, because if we then put the 80-year-old lens on it, is we get told that high cholesterol will lead to heart attack. High cholesterol will lead to this. I don't understand in this article where they bring cholesterol, dementia, all that into it. But there is significant amounts of evidence that you can go search that low cholesterol actually leads to dementia. There's also the whole premise that he talked about insulin levels and things like that, that dementia is type 3 diabetes, right? So at what point are we then talking about a diet? And a diet is a diet. That's why it's called a diet. But at what point are we demonizing a diet of eating meat when it's not necessarily eating meat is the problem, right? It may be the quality of it. It may be the type of things that you're ingesting. If you're eating quality grass-fed products, naturally farmed products, whether that be vegetables or meat, irrespective, then we won't have these health effects when we're 85 years old.
Look, it's definitely information that's not out there. No. And it's funny, like obviously there's studies that we do know and that do have a lot of backing because that multiple studies have looked at the same thing. They've been funded by certain people to try and, find that answer because they're looking for it. You know Correct. What I mean? And then that's what we're told.
Yeah.
But then there's guys like this really looking into it. I mean, I know we've got another video.
We've got another video. But like, again, if we take the 85-year-old self, right? How many, people when they're in their, plus 60, right? I can remember my grandparents saying this all the time. Oh, I went to the doctor. He said I got low cholesterol. Oh, that's good. I don't have to take medication.
Oh, for sure. It's drummed into us.
It's drummed into us.
Yeah, 100%.
But at what point have we demonized cholesterol?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think this one will sum it up.
This one will sum it up?
You sent this to me. This is a video I have seen a bit prior to today, but let's watch this in.
Mechanisms we have in the body. In 1968,
oh, hang on. Sorry, let me start that again.
The most important defense mechanisms we have in the body. In 1968, that the perfect cholesterol level was 222. Today, the perfect cholesterol is 222. It has not moved. As you get down to about 120, you can pretty well be assured that 100% of that population has cancer growing someplace. It may be small, it may be large, but it is growing. But as far as being the best protector against heart disease, against stroke, against cancer, you're not going to get over cancer unless you get cholesterol levels above 200. 180 is kind of the borderline area, the break even, if you would. But if we have a patient who stays around 120, 130, 140, I know they are not going to recover very rapidly.
First of all, this guy's 85. So well, there's the lens for you. And how about the music in the background? The audio.
The music G's it up.
I mean, that's wild, right? But like, I mean, the perfect level of cholesterol, it's definitely demonized. Absolutely. I guess it's been demonized because we've also, in a way, I mean, it's taking from another angle, is that we're a world and a population now that is generally overweight, and then that's just like associated with cholesterol, and it's like, you got to get it down, and because like that's associated with like fatty tissue in organs, in your in your arteries. So like that's what's.
But that's the thing, right? So when
that's the anxiety when people hear cholesterol, it's like, yeah, shit, no, my cholesterol is good, but
correct.
Is it 222?
But do we understand what cholesterol does?
Yeah, obviously not.
So like in the brain, cholesterol is a huge fuel source.
Yeah.
Right? Now, in our heart or in the cardiovascular system, when someone has a cardiovascular episode and they see that cholesterol is at the site of the problem, then the natural solution is, oh, you had too much cholesterol that caused the problem. Now, I'm not a doctor, but there's another school of evidence that says, well, hang on, if cholesterol is good for us, was cholesterol at the site of the problem trying to fix something?
Yes.
And it was too late, or it wasn't able to fix it, or we didn't have enough cholesterol to fix the problem. So again, we don't know, right? And I don't think we understand the human body enough to properly understand what level or what capacity cholesterol has on the body, right? But at the same time, people with low cholesterol have issues with the brain. So at what point, if the brain is the center of our conscious and everything that happens in our body, and it needs cholesterol, why would you starve it of cholesterol?
Hey, he's back.
He's back. But why would you starve it of cholesterol?
Right. Yeah, I mean, you make a great point. I haven't got an answer for that one, but it's definitely something that needs more evidence, though. We need more like understanding and awareness of what actually cholesterol is.
Oh, 100%. We don't know.
And
I don't think we properly understand that.
Yeah. Because when someone says, if someone's in their senior age group, whatever bracket you want to call that, and someone says, oh, I've got a high cholesterol, but I take something for it or whatever it is, it's like, oh yeah, that's like expected. It's like, oh yeah, as long as you're taking something for it, you know what I mean? Like keep that down, or if it's like a question of that senior age group too, is like, do you have high cholesterol? It's constantly like, must be a bad thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it also linked with the carnivore diet? I mean, the carnivore diet's saying that it increases this systemic inflammation. Is that?
Yeah, but see that I think that comes back down to,
is that necessarily the bad information? I don't know.
Like, we'll put a link to this article, but literally you can see that here, right? They've got a picture of a Wagyu steak, right? As the I guess the focal point of a carnivore diet, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you've done a carnivore diet and you're eating Wagyu steak, you're not doing a carnivore diet. right? Because Wagyu steak, you can't get grass-fed Wagyu steak with high marbling. Not a lot. I'm sure there is some, but the majority of your Wagyu steaks are grain-fed cows.
Diet, that one.
It is, and they're feeding them all different things, right? So again, it comes back to with this article and with the general notion of the carnivore diet. Yeah, if you're eating Wagyu steak and eggs that are cage raised, and like. What else? Butter that's from God knows what's in it, and probably got shitloads of chemicals in it as well. Then like you're going to cause issues in your body. But that's the same as if you were to open up a packet of chips.
Yeah,
you're not.
I know
you're not doing anything differently. You're just ingesting.
Doesn't stop people doing that.
Exactly.
They can sit in the shelf for forever.
So yeah, I think the clear message for me here is that. The carnivore diet isn't the problem. It's the quality of your food, no matter what. Yeah. Even if you're not doing the carnivore diet, dementia is not common to people that eat meat. Dementia is common to a lot of other people that eat balanced diets and everything else. So is cardiovascular disease.
Yeah.
And then the only link between that and this premise of the carnivore diet is the shit food that we're eating.
And once again, there's so many other factors, like we were saying. It's just like the tap water, if you ask me.
Yeah, maybe they didn't go to a good school, so that's why they got dementia.
The cow? Or?
The cow didn't go to a good school. The cow was raised in a shit farm.
That's right. Maybe the cow had dementia.
Maybe the cow had dementia. On. Maybe it had mad-cow disease.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so it passed it on to you who ate it. So that's why you got dementia.
That's right.
But if it was grass-fed, maybe it wouldn't have dementia.
Maybe not. But then again, who's paying for grass-fed Wagyu steak every day?
No, that wouldn't be.
Once again, my 85-year-old lens be like, too much effort.
Too much effort? To what, eat clean?
No. Definitely eat clean and balanced, but carnivore only, for me, it's not going to... I know the benefits. I know this article is telling us that, it's playing with fire and all that. There's evidence both ways, but I just think, I'm not going to change. It's not going to change what I do now.
Yeah.
Out of fear of what's going to happen when I'm 85. But balance, but definitely nutritional value, absolute paramount of any food that we take in.
I think that's for me what I would be looking at from 85-year-old lens is like... I've heard it a lot.
It's processed. It doesn't come out of the ground. It's like, should we be
that 80-20 is really reduce the processed food. But then I would probably go a little bit further and not just reduce processed food, but then the whole foods that you're eating, making sure that they're, not grain-fed whole foods and pesticide sprayed whole foods. Again, you're not going to get 100%.
And you don't know what's happening.
And you don't know what's happened to the source of food that you're having, but really try and reduce that where you can.
Absolutely.
Fair enough.
Let's
this last one.
Move on to the last one.
Touchy subject at the start for you.
I don't like it.
You don't like it?
Mate, I've been saying it for forever, since I was a student. It's a joke.
Well, this is from ABC News, but it is something that has been across all different media outlets, and it's
placement poverty.
Placement poverty. So this is specifically looking at allied health professionals, as opposed to the rest of the health industry that this has changed for.
Yeah.
But so allied health professionals are in demand, but students have been excluded from placement poverty solution. So allied healthcare students who are studying to meet the demand caused by the challenges of rapidly aging Australian population are facing a challenge of their own. Bree Harris is a mum to a 5-year-old, and with her partner is paying off a mortgage and for childcare and bills, and she's experiencing what experts have labelled placement poverty. Miss Harris is a 4th-year physiotherapy student at the University of Canberra, and is this year required to complete 25 weeks of unpaid placement in the space of 12 months.
Man. And she's already done 3 or 4 years of study.
Correct.
Shouldn't be that green.
And that adds up to about 1,000 hours of unpaid work. But each time she has to stop working at her paid job, those bills don't stop piling up.
Yeah.
Miss Harris said her strategy for minimizing the financial hit of her placements was to save up as much as she could beforehand.
Why would you want to be a physio or work in allied health and you have to do this?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So in May, this article says, in May, the federal government announced it would introduce a means attested Commonwealth payment of $319.50 a week for teaching, nursing, and social work students whilst on placement. No allied health, although social work, you know, you're on the fringe there. But so almost $320, $319.50 a week. Not heaps. For teachers, nurses, I mean, like, I completely get that, you know. Our hospitals do not run without the students at the end of the day. Like, and nurses are a massive part of that. But so are the allied health professionals.
Yeah.
You know, when we were at that point, we were the ones in hospitals walking everyone and doing the work.
Doctors do get paid for their placement. They have what's it called?
Well, when you're like become like a resident. And
they call it a residency.
Yeah.
And cool. It may not be a full-time doctor's salary like when you graduated, but
of course
that's already in place. And then obviously there's a lot of other health professionals that, like nurses, that don't get paid for that placement time. And also, I didn't realize it included teachers as well, but like teachers,
obviously,
things like that.
Super important. I get it.
But
so
at what point though, like, because you said that, you know, obviously why would you want to go be a physio when you know, for basically a year you're working for free. But at what point is that a detriment to people doing the job or studying that for that profession?
Well, to this person that they're talking about in this article, it is because she's...
Yeah, but she's 3 years in.
So now she's... Yeah, so she's 3 years in. So she's going to
stop studying?
Oh, no, but she may be able to like balance a bit of work with her studies, and a lot of study these days is online. But then once you're on placement, you're there full-time hours for 5 days a week, and then for 5 weeks, and that's one placement. I think they do 5 placements, so it ends up, like you said, 25 weeks in total.
Yeah.
Like,
no, it's a lot, and I hated it. I hated doing it.
Ridiculous.
It was not easy. It was not easy.
I don't understand. I don't know why.
And I lived at home.
You'd have to, though.
So like, you know, there wasn't anywhere near as much financial pressure as a mortgage and bills and a child to look after. I definitely don't think.
No way.
A mortgage, bills, and child, I'll be able to do it.
$320 is going to really do the job, but at least it's something. They're giving a nod to teachers, nurses, and social work students. But like, I don't know. I mean,
I think because if you open up to allied health, you open up a big door. You've then got, because you think about all the allied health faculties that do hospital placements, and I'm assuming this is purely for hospital placements, right?
Drop the weekly payment by whatever and spread it between everyone.
Yeah, but you've got physio, you've got
they're just
podiatry,
because physio might be, maybe they're looking at it like physios are gonna maybe more of a higher paying job than a nurse or a social worker. Maybe they're putting it that way. So like, are they going to earn their money after? I don't know.
I don't know how
that would be incorrect if that's the case. As in like, but I mean, I just don't understand. It's in terms of allied health professionals, they're hard to find.
Yeah.
These days, we know that hard to find any good ones anyway.
Yeah.
Super hard to find. They're generally, because of the ATAR, that is just ridiculous. 99, I don't even know what it is, 99 point something. It's extremely hard to get into. So these kids are like generally the brightest ones at school. They've got into physio, and then they've done 3 or 4 years of study. Then they've done their 25 weeks, which is spread out within the whole year, plus or minus, assessments on either side of that, unpaid, to then start working, and you're at the bottom of the tree. Like, no wonder they don't want, when they finally come out, they think they're Birdie Big Bollocks.
Birdie what?
Birdie Big Bollocks. You know what I mean? They think like their ego's massive because they're thinking, right, I've done all this study, now it's my turn to you give me the money.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work like that. You know, why would you do that when you could, maybe school's not for you, or even if it is, you could start a trade you could finish school, or you don't have to. You could start trade day one. Day one, you're getting paid.
Yeah.
By TAFE, you're getting paid, and they're paying you to
paid by TAFE.
Well, sorry, paid by the government, yeah, or master plumbers or wherever it is, if there's plumbing. One of my past lives. But you're paid day one. You're green as. Yeah. You don't even know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're like a labourer at best, you know. And then you go to study, like at the TAFE institution or wherever, and they're paying you to sit in the classroom, and they have to pay you more if you fail, because you have to repeat. Like, so they just
so they pay you to go to class.
You're getting paid. You're getting paid Monday to Friday. Yeah.
Wait, in a apprenticeship?
Yeah, apprentices for 4 years or wherever it is, getting paid.
Monday to Friday.
Day one.
38 hours a week.
They're on the job 4 days a week, and they go to TAFE. I mean, this is, I'm just saying as an overall, this is what it looks like. Generally, they go to TAFE once a week. They work on the tools 4 days a week, but they're green outs. They just finished school. They've never touched a tool.
Yeah.
And they're getting paid day one. So, like...
Yeah, look...
It doesn't make sense. Why would you go to... And then the incentive is actually for the industry to pass them through. Otherwise, it costs them too much money. Whereas at uni, for our allied health professionals, they have to go to uni. They have to pay for the uni. So they're not getting paid, and they have to be there. And if they fail or they don't... They have to... When they repeat it, they have to pay again. So the incentive is not... Is obviously for them to pass, but whereas
for the individuals to pass, but for the uni it's to fail.
That's exactly. And whereas the tradesmen, they're like, no, like, pass them through, because otherwise it's more work for me as a TAFE teacher. It's going to be more work if I have to fail them. I have to reteach them how to do it.
Yeah,
and they're getting paid day one, whereas the allied health professionals not getting paid until they finish after 4 or 5 years. Maybe they've got kids at that point, or they've just been staying at home to save coin. Then they come out with a massive HECS debt anyway.
And
why would you want to do it?
Well, this touched on something we've talked about in the past, where we both think that, especially private practice physio, I think there's an argument, if you want to work in hospital physio, that the current system might be the best way. But if you want to be a private practice physio, I don't think going to uni for 4 years best prepares you for private practice. And that maybe an apprenticeship style scenario in private practice
100%.
would be a way better tool to teach people how to be in private practice. And not only that, you would know if private practice physio was run like an apprenticeship, and you were green day one, you're starting your apprenticeship in a clinic, and you would quickly know within 2 to 3 months whether or not physio is for you.
100%.
You will get the ins and outs of exactly what it's like to be a physio, and what's required for the role, what's required to be the best in your profession. Whether or not you have the skills to be the best, you can learn that, but you now know whether the role meets your expectations. And then from there, if you continue beyond that, you can then be on the job training. Now, maybe there is some caveats, like you're not going to treat people, or you're not going to be friggin' in the room by yourself, or things like that. There's got to be some caveats. You're dealing with people's health, and I get that, and that obviously throws up some red tape. I get that. But from the perspective of the individual, it does not make sense that we go to study 4 years at uni and then go out to do the job, and then we're like, what the fuck is this? And like you said, they maybe have massive egos. Their expectations are higher than what it actually involves. You know, how many times have we had students come in and they're new grads and ask for ridiculously unrealistic wages that a small business in private practice can't support for a new grad, when for the first year we have to teach you how to be a physio.
You're actually at the bottom, like you're green.
Correct.
Start again. But then they could go to a hospital and maybe get closer to that, right?
Yeah, and again, but the uni has prepared them better for that. So 100%. I understand that. You know,
I get it.
The expectation of the salary matches maybe the output that a hospital requires them to do, but their expectation of salary and their knowledge base doesn't match the expectation of and the output that's needed in a private practice setting.
No way. Then that's why, in private practice, they don't last.
No. But that's what I'm saying. They would if there was an apprenticeship.
Yes.
Because you would know
yeah.
within the first 3 months that this is what you want.
It's funny that you go, so these bright kids go through school, do really well at school.
And have zero idea about what the future is about.
Say they want to be a physio. And then go to uni for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Then come out and then start private practice and you're still green as.
Yeah.
And then after a couple of years they go, it's not for me.
Yeah. What a way. And then you talked about the HEX debt and all that kind of stuff. A couple of years down the track, you
still haven't paid that off. No way.
You've got this massive debt that's going to be carried with you forever.
Yeah.
And I get that, there's all these statistics that people won't stay in the same career for, longer than, 4 to 5 years. And people change career paths like 8 times within a lifetime. And I get that that's a statistic, but let's have a look at the why to that.
Absolutely.
We can't just accept that.
Yeah.
And I also don't accept, I understand that, when people, started a job and were there for life and retired, is long in the past as well. I'm not saying that that's the same either, right?
Yeah.
But at what point are we looking at why are people changing 8 careers? Is it because they don't know what they're getting themselves into? Probably that's the fucking problem.
Yeah. Absolutely. It is a big problem. And look, it's great that they're acknowledging it, but they really got to look at allied health. I just can't believe that they brought it out finally. And
but I don't,
just not to...
Even if they gave it to physios, I still don't think that that's the solution.
It might not fix it, but still help a little bit.
In podcasts in the past, right? This is a handout entitlement to me. I'm not saying that they shouldn't do it.
Whoa.
I understand why allied health professionals should feel aggrieved that they haven't been included on this list. But at the same time, this is another handout, and I don't think that this handout solves the problem in our industry.
Well, because I don't think it's stopping or encouraging people to be a physio yet or an allied health professional, because they don't really know what they're really getting themselves into when they go to uni. And then they get to their 4th year or 5th year, whenever it is, and they do the placement and work out, shit, I'm not getting paid for this. That's when you work it out.
Yeah. And how many times have we heard
that drives the entitlement for the next year when they ask for the big pay rise?
Exactly right. But yeah, that's exactly right. But how many times have we heard, like, obviously when a student comes to switch, right, we have a very structured thing that we take them through to give them the best experience of what private practice is like, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, how many times have we heard, people that have gone to other, private practices and have just sat there and, just observed, right?
Absolutely.
So, the whole purpose of these 25 weeks of unpaid placement
is to get you ready.
Yeah. But it's not getting you ready. And then what about the other end of the spectrum where we've heard like horror stories where they've just smashed that student and loaded them up with a whole caseload of people, and you're like, cool, yes, there's the whole throw them in the deep end, but you're not giving them any freaking knowledge on how to deal with private practice.
No tools or anything.
Different in a hospital situation, because I think that's the best way. We've learnt all the tools for hospital, but you've learnt no tools for private practice, and then you go load them with 10, 15 clients a day and go, yeah, you went to uni, you work it out. And then they wonder why they fucking hate it. I don't think $320 a week is going to fix the problem.
But I mean, for hospitals, we know that they're run by the students in terms of like
take
all the
students out. Nurses, doctors, allied health.
So I'm glad that's there, but fuck.
The hospital system's fucked.
Yeah, and that's why I do credit the ones doing private practice that have stuck with it and are those people that have gone through that pathway and still ambitious to keep going, because they're keeping the industry going. But oh gosh, I thought finally they were giving out something for it, but no, allied health, that's it, you have been off the list. So that comes out in July 2025 next year. Anyway, it boils my blood. But JB, let's review the 3 that we've talked about today. So obviously tap water.
You continue drinking tap water, bro.
I'll keep drinking tap water. I'll see you when I'm 85.
I don't know about that, but...
You won't remember. You'll have dementia because you're on the carnivore diet. In terms of the carnivore diet and everything, I mean, obviously that was a big eye opener about the cholesterol. I think, yeah, for sure, and how it's demonized, like you said. But yeah, we mentioned, I mean, the nutritional value is the biggest thing, right? Yeah, either way. And then this topic, we didn't actually speak about in a lens of an 85-year-old. I think I'll look back at it and think,
in the lens of an 85-year-old, you'd probably be like, in the scheme of things, it was fucking not worth
nothing.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's probably better ways to tackle the issue.
Yeah. Bring on the apprentices. Apprenticeship physios. Let's make it happen. All right.
Very good. All right, before we wrap up.
Righto, as we always conclude, the shoe's out.
I'm sick of this shoe. Oh, you're closing it too.
Yep.
Oh, I'm... Nah.
Yeah, come on. Dive into the shoe.
There's only one.
My farm boots, by the way.
What happened? Where is Guru Gav?
I don't know. Where is he?
Is he
in here?
You set this up.
I set it up. Guru Gav, he was requested by a viewer a little while ago now.
Yeah.
We've tracked him down.
He's tracked him down.
And we hope to get him on for the next pod. Well,
he has to be on for the next pod.
Oh.
That's
work our magic.
We've got a few topics to talk about.
Oh my gosh.
For Guru Gav. We've got a few things that we want to go through. It'd be interesting to maybe get his reaction on some of the people we've spoken about.
Oh yeah.
In the like the people we've interviewed, like Emily and Liam, and things like that, and get his take on that.
That's one you're gonna have to watch. Yeah. By the way. That is,
if we G him up enough, he might get angry and like really give us, because he's very traditional English, right? So
that's
he's
right.
Be trying to be calm.
Hey,
and nice.
Hold on a second. He actually comes from Kent, where my family's from. So
nice.
Yeah, good people, mate.
Cool. What's that got to do with it?
Tap water.
They drink tap water.
Yeah.
What's his teeth like?
Yeah. Maybe we'll have a look at his teeth.
But yeah, I think it'd be good to get his reaction on some of the things we've talked about so far in our previous podcasts as well. Absolutely. And we've got some good ones for him too.
He has some theories, concepts, ideas that have definitely opened up our minds. Definitely will be great to listen to and watch for the next one. We'll get him on.
Well, enjoy, and thanks for setting me up with this one.
Thanks for going rogue today, mate.
All right, we'll see you next time, guys.
See you next time.